Risk. I love taking risks. I love the adrenaline, my mind moving into rapid problem-solving mode. Heightened awareness. This is me diving headfirst into an abandoned building in rural Portugal. Definitely not the best decision, but luckily I made it out. Kids are natural risk takers. They're unscripted and motivated by fun and curiosity. This is my buddy Jakey working on a building project called Box City Asia, a summer program put on by the American Institute of Architects with the goal of teaching kids about the World Heritage Sites and landmark architecture across Asia and make awesome buildings out of trash. When I was a kid, I was into art, but I was more about skateboarding, bikes, basic fun stuff. It took me a while to get clear that art was important, but when I chose to go to art school, it was because it was the most fun option at the time. It was either that or live on a cruise ship and study the ocean. During school, I painted and sculpted my butt off. I took snowboarding and dance instead of academics, and although I missed a lot of important stuff, I followed my passion, and that was not a mistake. I worked really hard and built a solid foundation. I fell in love with the craft of painting and woodworking. This is a piece of furniture. After I moved back to Texas, I began woodworking professionally in a small, fast-paced shop with a very low fun factor. I did, however, get really good at woodworking and got my first taste of what it might be like to mix art, craft, and business. It's a special feeling to know that an object I made is likely to be treasured and used for a long time. In 2006, I came to Austin and got my first teaching gig. We taught free art classes to the neighborhood kids after school. It was awesome and horrible and messy and fun. We made this mural at a housing project in South Austin. When they told us we couldn't paint on the building, we grabbed plywood, painted on it, and stuck it on the fence without their permission. It's still there. I was hooked. I started teaching at different institutions, and after a few years and a lot of work, I began designing more ambitious projects with a focus on building. Some cringe, but others would jump for joy when I would hand them a welder or a framing nailer. And interestingly, the girls usually took to the tools more than the boys. Now, all of this was fun and somewhat risky, but after realizing that I was focused so much on the students and pushing their edges, I knew that I needed some of that too. So in 2012, I joined an organization that teaches men how to live with integrity and how to extend my edge. So now, after years of this work and many risks in my own life, I've gained new perspectives and a more daring mission. I soon found the Amla Foundation and the Global Youth Peace Summit, which brings youth from all corners of the globe together for a week of summer magic. The summit is all about taking risks and stepping into one's power and carrying that message back out into the world. My wife and I have had the pleasure of facilitating programs for many years now, and we've made some great friends. For many, the summit is their first taste of life outside of their home country, youth and adults alike. And for some, their only chance to safely express who they are and what they've experienced. This is a piece I made that really captures the vibe of what it's like to be at the summit. In the last few years, these friendships have opened up pathways to India, Portugal, Spain, and England. And sure, it's fun to travel, but it's hard, confrontational, and vulnerable. Even still, it's a small price to pay for the gains. During a recent residency in Portugal, my wife and I revamped a shelter. You know, it's fun to come up ways to subvert an already subversive art form. And with this project, no matter how many times somebody paints over my message, it still shines through. It feels really good to make something positive and durable and just give it away. Besides, I think that everything we have is really borrowed. Last year I had my first solo sculpture show, and I really wanted to make the most of the opportunity. What was the biggest risk I could take? And how could I use this moment to share these concepts and tools with other people? I created mostly mirror-based works and held numerous public discussions in order to get people in the space and prompt some juicy dialogue. This is a new interactive piece that asks viewers to tell a secret in return for someone else's. All the while they're looking at themselves in a mirror. It's a bit sneaky, but what lies inside often takes some coaxing to come out. Joseph Campbell famously said that the cave we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek. If you're interested in keeping up with me, you can find me here and on social media. But more importantly, if you're interested in learning how to dive deeper into yourself and learn what treasures lie within, we can talk about that too. Take the risk, it's worth it. Thank you.